Welcome everybody. In this short video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to simplify keyboard notifications handling on UIKit based iOS applications, and how to implement code that can be reused among multiple projects in order to speed up even a bit the development flow. It's quite often necessary a view controller or any other class that contains a text control, such as text filter or text view, to be notified when the keyboard will show up or hide. To achieve that, it must be observing for any of the following two notifications. The UI responder keyboard will show notification when the keyboard is about to appear, and UI responder keyboard will hide notification when the keyboard is about to hide. In particular, there are certain steps that have to be followed in order to handle keyboard events. First, a class must start observing for the notifications. They usually go in pair, but that's not mandatory. Second, for each observed notification, a new method must be implemented that will trigger any additional actions. Third, in most cases, the keyboard frame is necessary to be retrieved in order to make UI-related calculations. Although simple, fetching it from the received notification might not be an easy-to-remember task. Inevitably, that series of actions will lead to a level of friction to the development flow that can slow down the working speed, especially when they must be taken repeatedly. However, all that can change pretty easily by creating a small class that will handle all the above and an assistive protocol that will be providing a way simpler new API to use instead. Having said that, that code snippet demonstrates what the final goal is. Undoubtedly, this is a much simpler way to deal with keyboard notifications comparing to the traditional approach that was previously described. Its best advantage is the fact that it almost eliminates any delay to the development process, as it makes it extremely easy to handle the keyboard show and hide events. So let's get started. Getting ready to start working in Xcode, and I've already prepared the UIKit-based project, so we can instantly try out later what we'll implement here. If you want to follow along, you can get that starter project from the link that you can find in the description, and then keep watching. See that I've already added a new source file called Keyboard Observer to the project, and this is the place where I'm going to start from. We'll begin by updating the import statement, and instead of importing Foundation, we'll import the UIKit framework. We're going to create two custom types here: the Keyboard Observer class that will be dealing with the keyboard appearance and disappearance, and the Keyboard Observable, a protocol that will be making use of the Keyboard Observer and that will be adopted by any view controller or class that needs to integrate the class's functionality. The most obvious choice to start from is the Keyboard Observer class, so let's define it. At first, we'll add an initializer method. It will accept two parameter values, and both of them will be closures. These closures will be implemented by other classes, but they will be called by this one whenever a keyboard event occurs. Particularly, the first one will be called when the keyboard is about to show, and the other when the keyboard is about to hide. So here is the init method. See that both closures are marked as escaping, meaning that they can be called even when the execution of the init method is finished. For that purpose, it's necessary to keep both parameter values stored in the Keyboard Observer instance. Therefore, let's declare the following two stored properties into the class. Back to the init method, now we can keep both parameter values to the properties above. Besides that, the init method will be used for one more really important purpose: to add self-instance as an observer for the keyboard notifications to the notification center. In order to keep things tidy and clean, let's create a new method just for that. As said, it will be adding self as an observer for both notifications. Xcode is showing errors regarding the two selector methods specified here. That's normal, as none of them still exists. Notice that the start observing method is marked as private. We want it to be visible within this class only and nowhere else. Before we add the missing methods, let's go one last time to the initializer to call the start observing method. Time to implement those methods now. The first one will be calling the onShowHandler closure, passing the keyboard frame as an argument to it. Keyboard frame is taken from the user info dictionary coming with a notification, using the keyboard frame and user info key from the UI responder class. The other method is simpler. It will be calling the onHideHandler closure without passing any arguments to it. Finally, there is one last thing left to be done in this class. That is to remove self from being an observer from the notification center. We will do that in a new method, and on top of that we will also be setting both closures to nil. That is in order to prevent any strong references from remaining alive, even if no weak self or unknown self capture value has been provided to the capture list of each closure upon using them. Here it is. The keyboard observer class is now ready, so let's move on to the next step, and let's create the keyboard observable protocol. As I've already mentioned, it will be using the keyboard observer class, and it will be adopted by view controllers or classes that want to use keyboard observer's functionality. It's gonna be a sort of a proxy between the two parts. It will contain a required property that's gonna be an instance of the keyboard observer class, and two required methods, which will provide a default implementation for. Here is the protocol implementation. Say that keyboard observable inherits from the AnyObject protocol, and that limits its adoption to reference types only, or in other words, to classes. Let's pass to the protocol extension implementation. In the first method, we'll be initializing the keyboard observer property, passing the closure parameter values as arguments upon initialization. In the second method, we'll be calling the stop observing from the keyboard observer class, and we'll be making the keyboard observer property nil. And that's it. Within just a few minutes and with simple moves, we managed to simplify the keyboard notification handling. Time to see that in action, so let's switch to the view controller class. But first, let's adopt the keyboard observable protocol. Then, it's necessary to declare the required by the protocol keyboard observer property. Even if we don't explicitly do it, Xcode will suggest to do so. In the viewDid load, we can now use the start keyboard observing protocols method. Here, we'll simply show and hide the button that misses the keyboard, and we'll print on the console the keyboard frame in order to verify that it's actually coming from the keyboard observer class. That's our last action, so here it is. Do not forget to call the stop keyboard observing method if there is no more need to observe for keyboard notifications, such as when a view that contains any text controls is about to be dismissed. There is no need to do so here, but it's important to keep it in mind in order to avoid memory leaks. Let's run the app now in the simulator to see if it will be working as expected. The button is becoming visible when the keyboard appears, and when it's tapped the keyboard is dismissed and the button hides again. So the app is responding properly to these two keyboard events. You cannot take the keyboard observer source file and throw it into a framework or a Swift package, and reuse the implemented custom types easily to multiple projects. I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you enjoyed watching it, consider sharing it. In the description, you will also find a link to the final project that contains everything demonstrated here. Thanks for watching, and take care.